Gil Namina, welcome back to my Travel Japan series. So today is talking about the departure day. Basically from when I woke up on the departure day all the way up until my landing day will be what I'll be discussing today. So when I woke up that day, on the day of the departure, it was a very foggy morning. My sister was thankfully kind enough to drive me all the way to the appropriate airport. I wanted to arrive 3 hours early, and since this was a morning flight, I very much appreciated a night person like her waking up so early just so she can drive me there. I should mention this has been my first time in an airport ever since I was probably 11 years old or so, sometime in middle school, maybe even elementary. And at that point, everyone was kind of doing the airport stuff for me, so it was a little nerve-wracking, especially with all the new COVID restrictions going around. But thankfully, I was overprepared, so you'll never really see that problem spring up. I think I did a decent job at navigating the airport. So, I went through the standard airport line, and I remember walking by one of the areas, and there was this guy, monk-looking guy. You can almost image him like he came out of... well, I don't know if this is culturally insensitive, but he looks like a monk straight out of the Air Nation. Regardless, he had like 2 luggages or something, and he was unpacking all his clothes across the floor. Something tells me it had to do something with his flight, but I couldn't help but to look at him and be like, man, that sucks, man. I hope something gets worked out for you, bro. I go through the lines and whatnot, and there's nothing really special to note. So after waiting for about 3 hours or so, I finally get on my flight and prepare for the really long non-stop trip. So my trip was about, I don't know, I want to say around 12 hours or so. It was a pretty long trip, honestly, all things considered. Or I should say my flight. So what was it like on this flight? When I entered through all the, I saw a peek of the first class in the back. I saw the business class. I saw the premium economy. And then I got to the economy, and it was a little bit demeaning having to see... It's like falling down Dante's Inferno or something and going through all the 7 gates of hell. Just the more I went through the airplane, though, the worse the quality got. But oh well. Now the really crappy part, I think, was what seat I actually ended up getting, because I didn't actually pick my seat this time around. I ended up getting a center seat. So like 5 out of the 9 seats in that row. And during this flight, the one guy in front of me just leaned himself in the back of his seat almost the entire 12-ish hour flight. And then I look to my right and I see, everyone on the window seats and everything being respectful and not doing any of that. Now, I didn't want to lean back just because I would feel like a hypocrite if I did that to the person behind me. Plus, I'm not really comfortable pulling back my seat all the way back. So that kind of sucked. Now, the only thing I was not overprepared for was maybe keeping myself entertained for this long. I downloaded a few videos and kind of put them on loop, and it wasn't enough. I think I watched Snap Q's Shadow the Hedgehog dub approximately 3 times in full, completely. Now all the memes from that video are nailed into my head. So any normal person would usually sleep through the situation. I've always had a problem with sleeping without a bed, so I kind of just stayed wide awake the entire time. I do want to give credit. I do think Singapore Airlines did a good job with the food and staff helping you as much as you can. And the quality of life that the flight offered was really nice. Like the screen that everyone got, in front of their seats. However, aside from that, it pretty much sucked the entire way through. I would say my flight back was actually better, but I'm going to discuss that in one of my later videos. After all those endless hours, after all that stupid BS I had to deal with on that flight, I looked over to my right side, peeking at someone's window, and I saw the cityscape of Japan in the distance for the first time. The airplane slowly landed onto the ground, and Singapore Airlines announced the completion of the flight. And as far as what happens next, that's going to be the next video. But the lesson you should take away from this video is if you're going on a long flight, make sure to pay extra for a window seat. Thanks for stopping by, dudes. Don't get lost. Mata ne.